Pittsburgh Steeler fans, what is up? You're hearing this show if you're watching it live, it's Sunday, or if you're playing back, it's the Sunday show that's normally called the Homer and the Hater Show. My partner in crime, Lance Williams, is off today, so it's just going to be simply me, Bryan Anthony Davis, you can call me Bad, as the Homer in the Homer and the Hater Show. So we're just going to probably call it the Homer Show today. With that being said, I am so glad for all of you to come and listen or watch, be that as it may, today on your lovely Sunday. Where I am in Maryland, it is a beautiful, albeit very sultry day. It's very hot out there, but it is definitely, my friends, it is definitely summertime here on the East Coast. And I hope everything is sunny and beautiful where you are. And if it isn't, I hope it's sunny and beautiful in your minds. So let's go ahead and have a great show today. And I'm already watching some people show up in the live chat. Jared Devil is here. Thaddeus Kennedy and Cara De La Fosse. Really nice to see you. Lance Williams, he's listening in, and he says, thanks, Bad. Listeners, yeah, boy, your boy is not feeling well. So yeah, Lance is not feeling well today. So I'm going ahead and take the reins. I miss you, Lance. I can't wait to hook up back with you soon. Solarverse is in the audience, as well as John Trent, my good buddy Reed Overend, and Bill and Gina Forever. Bill and Gina say it's hot in here in Oklahoma. Makes me think of Nelly. That's a perfect summertime song. It's getting hot in here. Okay, I'm not going to do that any justice. Plus, Lance will yell at me for that. I am not the best crooner. Not a very good singer either. Solarverse in the house. Dominant Persona. Great to see all of you hanging out with us today. And remember, if you want to go ahead and support this show, it's simple. All you've got to do is subscribe and check us out on our YouTube channel or on our many streaming options that we have. If it's streaming, you're going to find BTSC and the family of podcasts there. Seeing Wes Hickok. Wes is in the house too. It's nice to see everybody jumping in on this, once again, a beautiful Sunday, wherever you are. So let's get into it. Today's show, it's going to be, I told you, it's not the Homer and the Hater. It's the Homer Show today. And it's going to be very Homer-oriented, because the name of the show today is called Bad Predictions Sure to Be Good for the Steelers in 2020. Now, bad is spelled B-A-D, capital B-A-D. And the reason being is it's my predictions. So very Homer-like as well. And if you excuse me one moment, this is very unprofessional. Just realized my battery's about to run out, so let's go ahead and plug it in. See what you get when you just get me alone. I have no clue what I'm doing. Okay, that's much better. We have full battery, so you're not going to lose me during the show. So yes, it's going to be a very Homer-oriented show, and I've got to bring up my buddy Wade Johnson here. One of my crutch phrases is, let's go ahead and do this, Brian, LOL. Yeah, we are going to go ahead. And with that being said, that's my other one. We're going to get started here. So the 2019 season ended just a little over 6 months ago on a rainy field in Baltimore, right around New Year's. And what happened there, we know it ended before then, because that 3-game losing streak really knocked them out. When Ben Roethlisberger went down, there was still hope. The team still went 8-5 without Ben Roethlisberger, but that was because of a dominating defense, and it was because the team banded together, and they are the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that can do that. They take adversity, and they still do well. But the last 3 weeks of the season just they really couldn't get it going the last 3 weeks of the season. It seemed like the glass slipper on Devlin Hodges' foot ran out, or maybe the golden elbow pads or whatever you have It struck midnight on Devlin and the Steelers. So with Ben Roethlisberger coming back this year, it's a situation where health is going to really tell the tale of 2020. So it's not only going to tell the tale with just Ben Roethlisberger, it's going to tell the tale with James Conner's health, Stephon Tuitt's health, and the people that remained healthy last year as well. That's going to be very important. Health is number one. And so that leads to my very first prediction here. And it's James Conner is going to start 15 games in 2020. 15 games. Now, you're going to say, Brian, that's not a full season. But my prediction for any healthy Steeler this year, a full season is going to be 15 games. So the reason that is being because, you're hoping that you have a playoff spot wrapped up on the very last day of the season. And so you can rest your starters. We've seen that a lot in the past when the Steelers had a home field advantage or a first round bye wrapped up. But here's the thing. This year, there's 7 playoff teams in both the AFC and the NFC. So only one team is going to go ahead and be able to wrap up that bye. No one else has a bye. So that makes it even tougher. So I'll get to the Steelers record or the Steelers seeding a little bit later in my prediction list. But what I'm saying here is that it's really not going to matter. And they could probably have a home field position wrapped up, possibly, and not have to worry about playing on that last game of the season for seeding. So that's really what I'm looking for here. So number one, James Conner starts 15 games in 2020. So if I look up here, William Weathersby, he agrees. He thinks James Conner is going to rock this year. Thanks, William. Not many people agree with me, so I love it. I think James Conner is going to finally have a healthy year. I do not know whether it's going to be the fact that he's going to have less reps, whether that's going to need to come into the equation, or whether the fact that actually, let's get back to the reps. When you're talking about reps with James Conner, kind of think that you need to give him plenty of work, but not do the traditional Mike Tomlin, run the wheels off of Willie Parker, run the wheels off of Le'Veon Bell, run the wheels off of even D'Angelo Williams. Really, what they're set up to do this year, and Benny Snell Jr. can have a very positive year for this team, especially with Ben Roethlisberger behind center. And if Benny Snell Jr. gets more carries this year, James Conner could still have a Pro Bowl season, and James Conner could be healthy. So mixing in Benny Snell Jr. more will give that to James Conner. And I really think James Conner is primed and ready to go. This does not mean that James Conner is going to be with the Steelers past the 2020 season, because remember, you have a lot of contracts coming up. You've got James Conner in the mix, Juju Smith-Schuster. Even though it's not coming up, TJ Watt is going to need that extension soon. Cam Hayward's coming up as well. So that's kind of what you really need to look at there. Wes Hickok. And Wes, I do owe you some stuff. I told you that I'm going to go ahead and send you some links, and I will. But James Conner, 1,127 yards, 11 TDs in 14 games. Hey, if he plays 14 games and he gets those numbers, that is absolutely fantastic. We all would take it. Bill and Gina forever. I'm having trouble with that. James Conner gets over 1,000 yards and about 10 TDs. That is going to be key. So that is my first prediction. James Conner over 1,000 yards. Second prediction, and I've got 10 here. Ben Roethlisberger has an MVP season, but he does not get named. Look, I don't think the NFL wants to give Ben Roethlisberger, and the media does not want to give Ben Roethlisberger an MVP award. Ben Roethlisberger could very well have a Super Bowl MVP award this year. And that's something that I didn't put in the predictions, but I think that could be a possibility. I really think Ben Roethlisberger is going to come out healthy. I think he's going to be throwing better than ever. We've already heard that from James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster, Ryan Switzer, those who have been working out with Ben Roethlisberger, saying that this guy really has it. If he's pain-free for the first time in years, he could throw the ball a whole lot better. And remember, he had over 5,000 yards in 2018. He did have those 16 interceptions, but I'm going to go ahead and be an apologist for Ben here. Most of those interceptions, 13 of those interceptions, were headed the way of Antonio Brown, and they were forced to Antonio Brown, because if you don't make Mr. Gummy Richards happy, then you see the problems that you had, and eventually led to his exit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to say Ben Roethlisberger has, I'm not going to say a career year. I'm saying that he has an amazing year for the Steelers at age 38, and he is going to have an MVP type season. He will be probably the Steelers MVP this year. He'll probably be the NFL comeback player of the year as well. Look, if they give the comeback player of the year award to a guy like Rob Gronkowski, I'm going to go crazy, because the guy wasn't injured. The guy just retired and decided to come back. And that's, I'm really not down with that. I'd rather see a guy like Ben get it, and I think he's going to earn it. John Trent says Ben's going off this year, 40 TDs. If Ben goes off for 40 TDs, it's going to be an amazing year. Here, if Ben even goes off for only 30 touchdowns, but keeps the interceptions down, that's going to be a big deal as well, because that means that the running game is going. So it's really the ratio that you've got to look at here is touchdowns to interceptions. And if that is if there's a huge disparity in that, then you're going to have a great season from number 7, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Number 3, a lot of you aren't going to love this one, but I think this could be very big for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some of you are probably going to warm up to it a little bit the more that you think about it. Steelers are going to bring back Mark Barron. That's my 3rd prediction. So I know not everybody loved him, and I'm going to steal Dave Schofield's line that I stole and took for myself. But, Mark Barron and Terrell Edmunds were your unsexiest of all the supermodels last year. That's it's like the tallest guy on a short basketball team. He really wasn't amazing for the Steelers defense, but he started 9 games last year, and he did some things in some big spots. I was watching some highlights of the Arizona game this year. I was watching highlights of the Seattle game where, because of a penalty, Sean Davis had a penalty, and then I believe it was Sean Davis that they ended up calling that touchdown back. Mark Barron did some things last year, and I know a lot of people don't want him, but look at the depth behind Bush and Williams. You've got Ulysses Gilbert III. He could be good. You've got Robert Spillane. You don't have much more. So that's kind of a guy that you might want to look at coming back. Lesser contract, not a huge contract like he signed before. But if you bring him back, you're going to have good depth. And that's exactly what Thaddeus Kennedy says. Mark Barron is good depth. Remember, you're not going to have 53 superstars on the team. Guys like Ryan Switzer are going to make the 53-man roster. And they're going to get a chance to contribute. And if they contribute, they're going to get more chances to contribute. Mark Barron, if he comes back, he's probably not going to get number 26. That's fine. But if Mark Barron comes back, signs a veteran minimum deal, gets a job, he's going to be in pretty good shape. The Steelers will be in pretty good shape. That's extra depth. That's better than what you have now at that position. I'm having trouble with my clicking right here. Bill and Gina says, I have no problem with bringing back Mark Barron for a veteran minimum as a role player in depth. Yeah, that's true. John Trent mentions, I feel like Edmonds is more suitable for the Mark Barron role. In my opinion, Edmonds is not a safety, but yeah, good depth. I agree for Mark Barron. Here's the problem with moving him right now. They don't move a lot of guys into that position as much. I know he was kind of drafted to play that role, Terrell Edmonds was. But here's the thing with Edmonds. You've got an abbreviated preseason. There's going to be less preseason games. Might be an abbreviated camp. There has not been as much right now as far as, there's been no mini camp. Excuse me. There's been nothing. So I really couldn't see them moving him up as much. I think they believe in him a whole lot more. In our interview yesterday, if you didn't get a chance to check out the interview with Pittsburgh Steelers, this guy, he was amazing. Jordan Dangerfield, a great interview. And he said that the team believes in Terrell Edmonds. He really thinks Edmonds is going to have a great year. And the team really believes on this guy. So that's something that, that comes internally. That comes from the locker room. And, you might say, of course, he's going to say that. He's not going to blast his fellow player. But this is a guy at the same position that definitely believes in Terrell Edmonds, and the Steelers management likes him more than we do. And frankly, I know everybody in Steelers management knows more than I do, except for maybe Randy Fietner, but that's another story. Number 4. I might just be making this claim. I might be making this claim because we had an interview with him last week, and he's a great personality. And even Tony Defeo had an article recently. Check it out. The Steelers can't pick the right tackle based on personality, but I'm still going to say Zach Banner wins the starting right tackle job. And the reason I'm going to say that about Zach Banner, I think the Hulk and how he's working out. You see, if you've seen his tweets of him mowing the lawn and just pushing that, he's down some weight. He looks mammoth though. He looks stacked, and he's definitely hungry. This is a guy that I really think is going to go ahead and play very well and earn that. Remember, 2 years ago when you found out that Matt Filer was playing at right tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you didn't know who he was. You at least know who Zach Banner is. And really, Zach Banner can do some things. In his entire career with Sam Darnold was only sacked 5 times with him having his back. So, you know what? This guy is a lot better pass protector than you know. You've seen him as in the run game, as a run blocker more. But as a pass blocker, the guy can get it done. Chuks Okorafor, a lot of people like him a whole lot better than I do, and I'm coming around on Chuks. I really think that he is a hungry player as well, and he's going to see a lot of action as well in that extra tight end scheme, coming in and blocking. So those guys are going to get, both of them are going to get a lot of reps this year, and that's going to mean a lot. So don't worry about that right tackle position as much, because they've all had a chance to get some action. They're 3-year players, so they're not just nobodies going into that position. Number 5, Heath Miller's record is going down. 8 touchdowns for the Pittsburgh Steelers in one season is a record for tight ends. I think Eric Ebron breaks that. Now, here's the problem. He hasn't had a chance to get that rapport going with Ben Roethlisberger. I know that. I get that. But he's a weapon that Ben Roethlisberger is going to, when he gets in camp with him, he's going to get some time, and they're going to get to know each other very quick. So as far as that goes, I really think Ebron is going to be a red zone beast. Now, I'm not saying he's going to, get 1,000 yards. He's not going to break Eric Green's record for 942 receiving yards in one season. But he and Vance McDonald together are going to probably have over 1,000 yards receiving. They're definitely going to have over 10 touchdowns together, if they stay healthy. So what I'm saying here is Eric Ebron could very easily get 9 touchdowns and break that record of 8. It's hard to believe that the touchdown record for a tight end is only 8 in Pittsburgh. So that's something to think about. Dave Shipley says it didn't take long for Green. We're talking about Eric Green. He just couldn't stay healthy. You could say that about another tight end, Ladarius Green, as well. Even though he didn't get the stats because he did make the field. But Eric Green, I had a chance to showcase him in Numero Uni or Numero Uni with the number 10 jersey of all time for the Steelers, number 86, of course, highlighted by Hines Ward, Jim Smith, and also the number 12 receiver as far as touchdowns in Steeler history, Eric Green. Eric Green wasn't here long, did a lot of things. Eric Ebron can do something just like that. I haven't read it, but I trust John Trent's comments, so I'm just going to read it aloud. Ben's a vet and Ebron's a vet, both mature and won't take long for the connection to get going. And Brian, I could disagree and make a bold prediction and say Ebron could go for 1,010 TDs. John, I'd love it. I would love it. Bill and Gina say the same thing. They think Ebron gets 10, McDonald gets 3. I think you would take that out of both. Reed says this: if we can get Ebron, McDonald, and Claypool on the field together, we will be almost unstoppable. Those are some big men. I tell you what, that's a basketball team out there. If you could get them on the field, I don't know if you see those guys on the field a whole lot together. Chase Claypool, I don't really have a prediction for him this year. I think he gets over 5 touchdowns. I still think he is the number 4 receiver. As far as everybody else goes, and I'm going to mention the receivers in just a little bit, but Chase Claypool will see plenty of time. It's probably going to take him some time. It's not going to take him 6 games like it did with Martavis Bryant, but Martavis Bryant had a lot of issues coming in. Chase Claypool, even though he was a number 2 pick, he's your number 1 pick in the mind of Steeler fans and the organization because he was your top selection. So Chase Claypool is going to do some good things this year. He's not going to have time to get on the same page with Ben, but trust me, when Ben hooks up with him a couple times, that's going to be fine. So I still think he could get about five TD receptions. It just depends how those balls are doled out in the red zone. Awesome stuff. 1983 says Juju didn't get going early either. So let's go ahead and move ahead. Let's talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. It's contract year for Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't think that matters for Juju. Juju is really, really motivated and hungry. I think he has a lot to prove in his own mind this year. They kept on saying he's not a wide receiver number 1. He was protected by Antonio Brown. That's why he did so well. Sure, you can say all those things, but here's the thing about Juju Smith-Schuster. He's 23 years old. He's going into his 4th season. He was not healthy last year. He did not have Ben Roethlisberger last year. He did not have quarterbacks that could get him the ball, and he did not have a wide receiver number 2 to help him out. So with that being said, he has that this year. If Ben Roethlisberger stays healthy, Juju Smith-Schuster gets better. If the running game is better, Juju Smith-Schuster gets more open. You don't have to double him as much. With all of the weapons that the Pittsburgh Steelers added, Juju Smith-Schuster has a chance to be a superstar this year. And that's it. He can be absolutely amazing. So here's the prediction here. The prediction is 2 Steeler receivers go over 1,000 yards. It's Juju Smith-Schuster. And who's the other one? You probably think I'm going to say Deontay Johnson. I'm going to say James Washington. I'm going out on a limb. That's why it's a bad prediction. Hopefully that's going to go right. Dave Shipley says, Ben makes receivers better, period. Bill and Gina says 8 or 9 touchdowns. Wolf on Loose. That's a new name for me. I might not know Wolf, but with Ben back, yeah, he looks like him as a primary. So Wolf, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're in the show. And he says Washington. I think James Washington could have a great year. You know, when we kept on talking about James Washington needs Mason Rudolph because they had the connection together. They did all these things together. They were in college together. That cowboy, I called them the Steel Cowboys, and nobody liked that. They called them like I forget what they called it, the Oklahoma State connection, but I like Steel Cowboys. I thought that was really cool. You don't need to have Steel Cowboys together. What you need is to have the trust of Ben Roethlisberger. It looked in game number 1 that James Washington had the trust of Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger was trying to get there. Mark Stewart doesn't agree with me. And I have no problem with that. Mark, I appreciate your opinion. I very well could be wrong. Snowman thinks it's going to be Johnson who will have the breakout year. Reed says, more deep passes, more yards. Washington makes sense. Look, let's put it this way. Ben, I said earlier, Ben doesn't need 5,000 yards. He needs 4,000 would be amazing. 4,200 would be really good. But here's the thing. If you get 1,200 for Juju, let's say 1,000 for Washington or Johnson. Let's just say either. All right? It's 2,200 yards. Another 800, 700 to 800, let's say 800 for that third receiver, whether it be Washington or Johnson. That's 3,000. Throw in 500 for Claypool. It's 3,500. And throw in the 1,000 that I think you can get for from your tight ends. That's 4,500. You might get another 500 out of running backs. There's your 5,000. Now, that's not a bad way to dole it out. But I think we're talking so much about Deontay Johnson, and Deontay Johnson's going to be amazing. But I think it's James Washington that has the work ethic and can do it. Rico Parsons says, I think Juju, Washington, and Johnson will have 1,000 yards. Man, that would be awesome. Andrew doesn't agree with if I could get it up here. No bad. No way JW gets to 1,000. He could be a wide receiver 4 on the team by the time or bye week comes around. J-Dub is better than what I give him credit for, but I still can't get on for 1,000. Yeah, you know what? But here's the thing. If you get 800 out of J-Dub and he ends up being the third receiver, that's an amazing year. He was your leading receiver last year with 700 some plus. And Juju was still on the team, even though Juju didn't play a full slate of games. Deontay was on the team too, but that was your leading receiver. So that's the guy you could look at as far as having the capability to do this. As far as Chase goes, Mark says, I think Chase is going to play a bigger role than you think. Ebron is going to take a lot of Washington catches as well. So, yeah, you're right. But here's the bottom line to the whole thing. We're in a great situation for receivers. You've got 4 talented receivers. You even have a guy that Ben Roethlisberger thinks has talent and is going to make you first downs in certain situations in Ryan Switzer. Ryan Switzer, as much as I'm going to get the big nose, and I'm sure Lance will give me a big no, but Ryan Switzer is going to catch some balls. And he's going to make some first downs. So you've got 5 options at wide receiver. You've got 2 options at tight end. You have Connor. You have Watt. catching the ball as well. Ben has plenty of weapons. If they all stay healthy, stats might go down, but collectively, if the offense is doing it and Ben has 5,000 yards and it's collectively and it's not top heavy, it's not too top heavy at number one, like it was in the Antonio Brown years, you could be going to the Super Bowl. You are really going to give defenses fit. And if you throw in the fact that you've got a great defense, all I can say is wow. And I'm a big fan of this is where the bad in me comes out. I'm a big fan of the 1988 Michael Caine, Steve Martin classic, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And I remember the line from Steve Martin. He just says, wow. All I can say is wow. And that's what I think the Pittsburgh Steelers can be this year. Really. They really can. Ezra says, with this defense, Tampa, here we come. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So let's go back to the list here. TJ Watt does not break James Harrison's sack record of 16 this season. Doesn't break the single season record, but he still gets 15. And that 15 is going to put him in 9th place. Actually, it's going to put him in 10th place on the unofficial list. And I have changed, anytime I talk about sacks now, I'm going with the unofficial list because the unofficial list has to include Dwight White, has to include Elsie Greenwood and Joe Green. Has to. So that's what I'm going to do here. Use the unofficial list. That's going to put him at number 10. He's going to have a great year. He's going to have a great year because Bud Dupree's going to have a really good year too. But all I'm saying here is TJ Watt is the next Steeler superstar. He really is. Minka Fitzpatrick is also the next Steeler defensive superstar as well. Those two are your faces of the defense, Minka and James. Excuse me, and Trent Jordan Watt, TJ. Cam Hayward is still the captain and the leader of that defense. He's going to get his sacks too, and he's going to rise up. He's already number 7. Devin Bush Jr., awesome stuff. I'm going to talk about him next. He's a face of this defense too, and he really is. But TJ Watt, another superstar season. He very well could be Defensive Player of the Year. And you know how I said earlier, the league does not want to make Ben Roethlisberger an MVP. The league wants to make TJ Watt a Defensive Player of the Year. I just feel like they do. And I really think that he is going to have an amazing season. If we go back to the Zach Banner interview, I love the fact, Zach Banner, an offense guy, was talking about TJ. He loves going up against TJ in practice because when you go up against TJ, you're going up against the best. And he always brings out his best for TJ, he said. And then Ramon Foster told him, if you could go up against TJ the way you go up against everybody, like you go up against TJ, you're going to be amazing. And so he said that there was politics involved last year. This was coming out of Zach's mouth. And Zach's not afraid to go ahead and voice his opinion. But he said this guy was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. And he felt like he got robbed of that honor. But you are going to go ahead and see this guy, TJ Watt, be a Defensive Player of the Year. Ezra says TJ is the Mean Joe Green of this generation. Rico says that Bud is going to have more sacks than TJ, then get signed by the Cowboys. Bud's going to make some money this year. I trust Bud. I mean, Bud's the kind of guy that if you're worried about TJ, Bud could break that sack record. He's not overrunning guys anymore. Bud could too. Once again, embarrassment of riches. It's probably one of the, on paper, and I'm thinking this team is really, really special compared to anything that we've seen in the last 10 years as far as all the way around. You just got to keep them healthy, keep them out of the tub. That's the thing. So there you go. Let's go ahead and talk about Devin Bush Jr. My number 7 prediction was Devin Bush Jr. has an all-pro season. I think it's time. And it's only been his second season. But we knew how special this guy was when the team traded up to number 10 to get him. A lot of people hated it. There's a lot of people in BTSC, a few that weren't sure about it. It was just the right move. It's going to continue to pay off. Devin Bush Jr., 55, number 55, is going to be another superstar for this team. When you look at having Cam, having Bud, having TJ, and I'm still going to say having Vince, having Hayden, having Fitzpatrick, and now having Bush, you've got studs all the way across that defense. You could possibly have 6, 7 Pro Bowlers from this defense. I don't think you're going to. But really, this guy is going to be the man in the middle. And I know it's not the song, but I think we're going to be doing a little adaptation to the Michael Jackson classic. I'm talking about the man in the middle. His name is Devin Bush. Devin Bush. Okay. I'm not me if I can't do that stuff. But Dave Shipley says this: our team is loaded. And our team is definitely loaded. And that's why I'm feeling so good. This is the homer in me, man. It's the homer and the hater show. The hater's off. The hater's not feeling well. The homer is bringing the homer. And that's why I'm thinking this stuff's going to happen. Number 9. Minka Fitzpatrick's interceptions are going to drop. But that's not a bad thing. Here's the thing. First 8 games of the season, or the first half of his season for the Steelers last year, he got all those interceptions early. You know why? They threw to him. They threw in his area twice. In 8 games, twice. You know, I'll say this. I don't know, Paul. Stop embarrassing yourself. I'm not embarrassed. And there's 49 other eyes here that say that they know me, and I don't think anybody else is embarrassed for me. So not embarrassed at all. And I bet you. Okay, Dave, America Got Talent. That's great. And I'm also getting "You Sing Bad, but I Like It." Hey, I'm not afraid to go ahead and let my personality show. This is who I am in my regular life, and I have fun with it. And I'm going to make this prediction that Paul, get to know me more, you'll come around. I'm hoping. So anyways, Minka Fitzpatrick, they're not going to throw against him. He's still going to get his Pro Bowl. He is still going to be an All-Pro. And that's because teams aren't throwing against him. That's it. They're just not going to go near him. And that's a good problem to have. And guess what? You're not going near him. You have other guys that can lock it down. So really, Minka Fitzpatrick, I talked about it a little bit earlier about how he is going to be one of the faces of the defense and one of the superstars. I can't remember. It's been a while since you've had this many studs, this many potential all-pros on your defense. You know, we can go back to when you had guys like Hampton and guys like Debo and Troy, but I still think you got more now. I think you're better now. Andrew Wilbar says this, and I love this, Andrew. Oop, I brought up John. Sorry. I wonder how much of an impact Terrell Austin had in Minka's success last year. I think he's going to have even more. John Trent says, I feel it will go be the same. Butler will move him around a bit, and he'll have the same number. So he doesn't. Yeah, I know they're going to move him around a lot, and so maybe he does. And I hope I'm wrong. Ezra says Minka will roam around and get 3 picks, but have 14 pass deflects. That's good too. It doesn't matter. The bottom line to it doesn't matter how many interceptions Minka Fitzpatrick has. Minka Fitzpatrick locks it down. There you go. So when everybody was looking up at that draft board on April 23rd and said, man, I wish we had a number 1 pick. I was fine with it. We talked about this the other day on the show. Think about this. If you're the Los Angeles Rams, if you're the Indianapolis Colts, if you're the Chicago Bears, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, what do you have in common? You didn't have number 1 picks this year, but you have guys in Khalil Mack, in DeForest Buckner, in Jalen Ramsey, and Minka Fitzpatrick. You have those guys that were your number 1 picks, and they don't have to go through a learning curve. You know what you have in those guys. And Minka Fitzpatrick, you know what you have in those guys. You basically got an all-pro. You got a guy with an all-pro season early from your number 18 pick. So that is all you've got to say about that trade. Is it going to go down as the greatest trade in Pittsburgh Steelers history? If it doesn't, it's going to be 1B to Jerome Bettis to the St. Louis Rams in 1996. But really, and I could be missing some other trades, but right now I'm thinking Minka and Bus, 2 biggest trades this organization has ever made. So Mark Stewart says this: teams are going to want to stay away from Minka. Nobody wants that problem. Yep. Nobody wants to deal with that. Here's my last prediction here. And I tell you what, while I'm doing this last prediction, we're going to take about 5 minutes after that, and you guys throw in your predictions. And we'll start those now. And if you put them in earlier, put them in again, because with me by myself, it's hard to scroll through, and my ADHD. I get off a little bit. So, number 10, Steelers don't win the division, but they win Super Bowl 55. They go to Tampa, they win the whole thing. How sweet would it be if they go to Tampa and beat the home team, and it's Brady and Gronk? I don't think that's going to happen. But how sweet would that be? Pittsburgh Steelers, don't worry about what the Baltimore Ravens regular season record is. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game. It's going to be an AFC North Championship game. They have the defense to handle Mahomes. I think Mahomes is still your NFL MVP this season. I think he will be, not Lamar. It could be Lamar, but I think it's Mahomes. And I think Mahomes has an incredible season. I just don't think they repeat. You've got other teams out there that are pretty darn good. Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm predicting right now, I could be wrong. Hope I'm not wrong. If any on this list, see this list, any on this list that I want to be number correct, it's going to be this one. It's got to be this one. I think the window's there. The window's open. Guys, just go through and grab it. I really think this is the year. Who do I think comes out of the AFC? So the NFC says awesome stuff, 1983. I'm thinking San Francisco. I'd love to see a Steelers-San Francisco Super Bowl. I think they could come out again. I think a team like Seattle could be there as well. Whoever wins that division, how I just said the AFC North, you could have an NFC West winner. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do it. A lot of people are touting the Cowboys right now. I just don't really see the Cowboys. I mean, you've got that Tampa possibility, but I still like what you see in the Saints. It could be a Steelers-Saints Super Bowl. It could very easily be a Ravens and Chiefs versus Saints Super Bowl. But I'm still making that prediction that it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's I'm going to jump up. I hope I didn't miss any of these. So okay, this isn't a prediction, but Ezra says Troy and Ed Reed had a baby. They named him Minka, ball hawk and disruption. And then Mark Stewart says, now that's the Immaculate Conception, LOL. I love you guys. We have the best live chat in the business, if you ask me. Ezra says, my prediction is Connor plays 14 games but rushes for 1,361 yards with 12 TDs. That's a pretty bold statement. If I'm going to quote Vinny Vega in the great Pulp Fiction from 2004, that's a bold statement. Yeah, that was Vinny who said it. The Vinny Vega, it wasn't Jules. Which, by the way, Samuel L. Jackson playing Jules, one of the greatest. Trust why he didn't win the Academy Award that year. Martin Landau won it for Ed Wood. But why Samuel L. Jackson did not win the Academy Award for Pulp Fiction still boggles my mind. One of the greatest performances I've ever seen on screen. Jules, Pulp Fiction. Bill and Gina, number 7, helps us get 7. John Trent. Ben wins comeback and MVP of the NFL this year. I am going to jump ahead. Looks like we've got a super chat. Dave Shipley gives us $5. Thank you very much. If you want to get to the top of the queue, you can throw in your hard work and money, and we definitely appreciate that, and we'll put you at the top. 12-4, we win the Super Bowl. We play Philadelphia. Bold prediction. Wow. How would you like that Keystone State Super Bowl? That'd be amazing. The only problem is don't always handle Philly well, but at least it would not be in Philly. That's the good thing. It would not be in Philly. Rico says, I think Benny Snell will have more rushing yards than Connor. He could. But that means that Connor is not healthy. And that will spell the end of Connor. And I just don't think. Port Naquenba. Steelers overcome long-term nemesis Bill Belichick in the AFC Championship only to lose to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That Tampa team's pretty good. I just think there's something special, and I think that defense can handle Tom Brady. I really think that defense can handle him. Jeffrey Benedict, our very own Jeffrey Benedict here at BTSC. We are 5 deep, running back with a great defense. I'm all about keeping Ben's passes down. Paul, Baltimore is the best team in the North. Stop being a homer. Hey, Paul, you don't know me yet. I always tout about I had Baltimore beating them for the division. Not going to stop being a homer. It's the name of the show. This is interesting. BLK Hulk 47. I think Edmonds gets moved to middle linebacker and the rookie Brooks will take over his spot. That's a bold prediction. Wow, that'd be really amazing. Because you could see the rookie Brooks being that kind of guy too. Andrew Wilbar says this. It would only make sense New England wins this year if an asterisk is put by the Super Bowl winner. You know what? You know who has 2 Super Bowl asterisks? Not a lot of people think about this. The Washington football team. Washington has 2, 1982 and 1987, 2 strike season Super Bowls, 2 shortened season Super Bowls. Pretty amazing. Felicia, $10 from Felicia. I'm chiming in late, LOL, at work. Bad, I'm buying everything you're selling on our Steelers. And Felicia always puts in the fun emojis too. So she's got 7 trophies there. She's got hands holding. She's got, I don't know what they are at the bottom, whether they're football legs or, oh no, they're glasses. They're glasses, champagne glasses. And she's got a bottle there. That's good work, Felicia. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're buying what I'm selling. And thank you for the $10. That's great. And have a great day at work. I hope you get off soon. Richard McKinney says, with the hire of Canada, there will be a plan for Mason Rudolph, unlike last year. Got to be a plan. Bottom line, Richard, you're right. There has got to be a plan. It's going to be a backup plan. We talked about this on the show last week on the Q&A. You've got to have something just in case things go wrong. Can't be caught with your pants down. That's what happened last year. That's exactly what happened. Snowman puts in $5, and thank you very much. Hey, Paul, what happened to the Ratbirds last year? Let's go Steelers. Let's go bad. Well, thank you. Hey, I'm glad, Paul. I will say something to you, Paul. I don't know whether you are a Baltimore fan. It doesn't really matter. You're welcome in our live chat. And whether you're a Steeler fan, a Raven fan, whoever you're a fan of, you're welcome here. The rule is be cool, and I have no problem with you. So, and me, I'll take as much criticism as possible. I don't really have that ego. I'm just that kind of guy that when I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. William says, bold prediction, Steelers beat the Ravens and face the 49ers. You're on track with me, William, because I really think that it could be a Steelers-Niners. It could be the 70s and 80s. That'd be it. Paul is a Steeler fan, but not a homer. Hey, that's no problem. We have plenty of non-homers, and there is a lot of people, Paul, that don't get on board with all of the positivity. But if you haven't watched the show, when Lance is on the show, it's the homer and the hater. It was like when it was Jeff and Lance. That's kind of our Sunday show. We kind of go in that direction, and I'm definitely playing the role. I'm not an over homer, but I'm definitely feeling it today. I missed a Big Bro. Oh, he's my boy. My boy, Big Bro Sco. He's on holiday, and he's listening to the show, and he's saying bold prediction, bad singing improves. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but thank you. I love it. I love me some Big Brosco. So here we go. Dean McRae says, go get Chris Jones, win the Super Bowl. We don't have the money for Chris Jones, but that would be absolutely fantastic. So there you go. We're coming up on almost an hour. This was supposed to be a short show. We had a lot of people in the chat today. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Look, we still have 3 months to go for the season to start. Actually, no. What am I talking about? I mean, the season could start in 2 months. And, I'm hoping it starts in 2 months. The NFLPA said no preseason games, possibly. I think they're going to go in the direction of that. I'm still looking for that season to start on time. So that's the hope. That's probably, they're going to do everything they can to do so. Real quick, I'm going to bring this up. Close Your Eyes, Bad definitely sounds like a disc jockey. That was my first job out of college. I was a top 40 DJ. And I'm glad you brought that up because yesterday for me was a double holiday because Independence Day, very important to me. Fantastic American holiday. Very important holiday. But it was of the 50th anniversary of something. And it was the 50th anniversary of the very first American Top 40. And if you know me, you know how much I love Casey Kasem. And when I was a kid, one of the reasons I know the number one song so well is Casey Kasem was on in Johnstown when I was watching the Steeler games from 10 to 2. So the top 10 would come on from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The Steelers started, so I had a problem. So I was listening to him, listening to the top 10, writing the stuff down, listening to Casey, watching Chuck Noll coach the Steelers. And I tell this all the time because back in 2014, Chuck Noll passed away on a Friday night. Casey Kasem passed away on a Saturday. It was Father's Day weekend. And they passed away a day apart at the same age of 1982. The two guys that shaped my childhood with the Steelers and top 40 music passed away the same weekend. I know people were calling my wife and saying, "Is Bryan okay?" And I hadn't even heard the news yet about Casey. I had heard it about Chuck Noll. And it was just one of those things that I feel like I lost a part of my childhood there. But 50th anniversary of the greatest show in my lifetime, American Top 40. Now Ryan Seacrest continues the tradition. He had a great tribute to Casey Kasem as well. But 50 years of American Top 40. May you have 50 more, but that celebrates Casey Kasem as one of the best. And I know this is a Steelers show, but for me, the Steelers and American Top 40 were together because that's what I did when I was growing up. And that's why I think I couldn't choose between the two, so I combined them. So anyways, lots of great stuff going on this week. Check out Tony and myself tomorrow with the Steeler Q&A. I think we're going to talk some Marquise Pouncey. Then the Stat Geek will be hosted by Lance Williams on Tuesday as Dave and Big Bro Sco are off on holiday this week. On Wednesday, you're going to have, once again, Lance and Michael Beck with The Standard is the Standard. You'll see Michael and myself again on Thursday with the Steelers preview. Then on Friday, Lance with the I Said It. On Saturday, Steelers Brunch with Tony is back after taking the holiday off, and we had Jordan Dangerfield instead. So as far as that goes, then Lance and I will be back again on Sunday. So that's the week schedule. As always, we cannot do this show. We can't do any of our shows in the family of BTSC podcast without you. All of you are very special to us. Can't do it. You're all Steeler fans, whether you're homers, whether you're haters. We're all black and gold in our hearts. And like I said, we're in this together. I love you, BTSC Nation. I will talk to you next time. So for the hater that hopefully will be feeling better for Lance Williams, my name is Bryan Anthony Davis. You can call me bad. And just when you think you know all the answers, to quote the great Rowdy Roddy Piper, we keep changing the questions. In this case, we just changed the predictions. We'll talk to you next time.